So after this experience in Egypt, which also you may remember from earlier videos, this period of time in my life was also when I was at the peak of my meditation practice, 2009, and I got to a position where I felt I could explore in my astral bodies using my spiritual faculties, and I was moved to spiritually, consider the issue of UFOs, aliens, which I hadn't really thought too deeply about before, other than being open-minded about their existence. It wasn't a field I'd looked into in great depth. I was more interested in spiritual studies. But nevertheless, in the interest of being objective and opening my inquiry, I thought, I must look into this. This has happened in Egypt, so I did some research. I read about an Australian lady called Tracy Taylor, who had quite a compelling story about communicating with aliens, and she's, whether or not whatever you thought of her story, she seemed to be an extremely light being, filled with joy, and the upshot was she gave me the impression that they were quite benevolent, so it gave me a bit of confidence, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do a meditation, I'm going to try and communicate. I felt that some sort of contact had been made in Egypt, and that now was the time to follow up if I was going to do it. So I lay down this bed, closed my eyes, and I just went on the assumption that they were there listening, ready. And I said, I'm ready now. If you want to take me, I'll go. And I was psyched up for it. And as soon as I said that, mentally said it, I was still wide awake. I heard a voice in my ear, a female voice, and she said, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" It's a very dispassionate voice. The prime characteristic of her voice throughout was one of dispassion, neutrality, to not influence me one way or another, totally dispassionate. She said, "Are you sure?" I said yes. In the next instant, I went into an out-of-body state, and I knew, because I'd been in that state before, I knew, you do know, that I was very, very far away, further than I'd ever been in an astral experience, a lot further. And I couldn't see very much, it was dark, everything was indistinct, and that's one of the reasons, consequences, I think, of being so far away from my body. I couldn't see much, except for a purple lilac spiral that was sort of below me, but taking up most of the panorama of what I could see. This spiral in two shades of purple, light purple, like a lilac-y and a lavender purple, and in the centre of it was of the same colour, a being that just appeared as like a snowman shaped, but purple, with no features, no hair, just two circular shapes, one on top of the other. And surrounding the spiral were many more entities, the same shape, the same colour, but smaller than the one in the middle. And I don't know if that was their true appearance, or I was just perceiving an energy form. I don't know. I assume it was an energy form, or I just didn't see clearly, perhaps, because the atmosphere wasn't, conducive to that. And then anyway, unless, I took in, I digested this scene, and the voice in my left ear again said, "Will you worship our goddess?" So that put me right on the spot. I didn't know what to say. I was very intrigued. I didn't feel threatened, but nor did I feel any kind of love or emotion at all. I mean, like I said, this was the hallmark of these entities. There seemed to be there's just no emotion there, which is very inhuman. With human beings, there's always some kind of emotion, even if it's negative, there's emotion there, so there was nothing. And so, I always err on the side of complete caution, to the point of being a complete coward because of the many frightening things that have happened to me in the astral states. So I err on the side of caution, where I don't know what I'm doing, especially, which was, this is an example of that, I realised. And so I just said, I'm a Christian, I worship Jesus, I can't. And as soon as I said that, I woke up again. I became conscious again in my body in bed, and it was over. And I knew that contact had been severed by what I'd said. Now, they do say that any demonic form can't abide the name of Jesus. So that's one aspect to that story. Also, my words to them had also indicated that it was against my will to go further with what they were proposing. So that in itself would have ended an experience like that, because I decided I was no longer going to do it. So I was pulled back to my body. But even though I think that was the only real safe course of action in that moment, I do regret not having asked them who she was. It happens so many times that I just cannot think on my feet when I'm in not just an out-of-body situation, but an in-body situation as well. My mind goes blank. It's only later that I think of the right questions, and I've kicked myself so many times because it would have been so interesting to know who that was, to have had a name. And just like so many of these experiences, there's just no proof that I can give to you apart from the stories I reported back. Thank you for listening.